First though, let's change the subject completely and turn back the clock, 1999. So 27 years ago, we were experiencing a eclipse and the sky went dark and you could hear little, actually, because the birds fell silent, the bees were no longer buzzing about, and there was an eerie calm. And if you weren't here to experience that, well, you're about to experience something quite similar. Shawnee Morris is here from the Midlands Astronomy Club. Morning, Shawnee.
Good morning, Will. Thank you for having me.
So, let's compare the two events. This upcoming solar eclipse, will it be as dramatic as 1999?
It will be almost as dramatic. Back in 1999, totality passed through the southwest corner of England, along Cornwall's peninsula. Now, on that day, they were clouded out, but here in Ireland, we had 97% of the sun covered, so that was pretty substantial in order to bring those effects that you spoke of.
Remind us of the mechanics. So what's happening to create that effect?
Well, as you know, we have a moon. Earth has its moon that goes around once every, from full moon to full moon, it's roughly 29 and a half days. And it takes 27 and a half days in order to spin on its axis. Now, the alignment of these angles to which Earth's north pole is tilted 23 degrees, and the moon orbits around the plane of the solar system. Relative to that, it's almost 22 degrees, that there will be these coincidental lineups from time to time, where the sun, moon, and Earth will appear to be in a straight line. Now, when this happens, we also have a cool principle of physics that is still so hard to explain, but I'll do my best. If you could take the fact that the sun is roughly, from one side of the disk to the other, 400 times the size of the moon. Now, it's not exactly 400 times, but just about. But we'll use the round numbers. So therefore, the sun-Earth distance is nearly 400 times the Earth-Moon distance. So this 400 number is like it's key to all of this. And therefore, when we have this perfect alignment, which happens roughly twice every year, at a coincidental state where you get all three in a perfect alignment, that the sizes also matter. Therefore, the moon is now going to cover the sun perfectly. Now, it doesn't always do it perfectly because we have eclipses that are called annular. And this is because the moon will still be in front of the sun, but we still have that disk around the outside because the moon is a little further away, rather than being at that perfect spot nested in the middle. So tomorrow, some of the world here in the Northern Hemisphere, from Greenland across down Iceland, down the Eastern Atlantic, way off Ireland's western coast, and then curving into northern Spain and the Basque region, we'll have the path of totality. We're going to be that close that we will see 94% of the sun covered from here in the Midlands, and it will have almost as dramatic an effect as those of us who remember what it was like back in 1999.
So I can understand the sky going dark because of what you've just described, but why do birds fall silent, for instance? Why does nature react the way it does?
Well, I will even draw experience from my own one where I went to Turkey with 147 other Irish astronomers back in 2006. And that's the shameless plug. I've managed to cross that one off the bucket list.
Well done, well done.
So from there, these eclipses are very gradual when they happen. In the context for tomorrow evening, the moon will make its first crossing across the sun at 10 past 6. But it won't be until 12 minutes past 7, just over an hour later, that the maximum amount of the sun will be covered. That will be 94%. So this gradual pacing of the moon coming across the sun is almost like it's creating an artificial sunset, to which flowers then begin to close up, the temperature is dropping, birds are becoming more quieter, and those pollinating insects like bees and wasps will start to go back to their nests, thinking that sunset is approaching. And during totality, and even we will see this tomorrow as well, at maximum for us at 12 minutes past 7 and roughly 10 or 15 minutes either side of that, we will see a diminishing of bird song. Some flowers will begin to close up, not all of them, because there's still a degree of sunlight that is getting through. And that'll be part of the safety message I must say to you in a moment, to which then it has that artificial dusk setting in before it'll then begin to brighten up and the entire spectacle will finish roughly about 8:15.
So back to that safety message. If 94% of the sun is obscured, then you could be tempted to think, this is safe enough to look at. Most of the harm is cut out.
That is true, and it's not the case, because when we have a total solar eclipse, that is when it is safe to use an unfiltered binoculars or a telescope to look directly at the sun. For us here, we still need some optical safety. Now, that can come in a couple of different forms. Very recently, the pace has been on for people scrambling to find their own pairs of eclipse shades. These are like those little cardboard 3D glasses types from the 60s and 70s in cinema, but they have a very, very special film over the front of them that is blocking over 99% of the sun's light and heat. Because when you are looking at the sun through an optical instrument, such as a telescope or a binoculars, it's not just the image that you're trying to magnify, you will naturally, inadvertently be also magnifying the heat and the light. And that's where you'll have that damage effect that things will start to burn, including your eyeball. So not having a proper filter, do not use those instruments. These kinds of filters that I have here, these solar eclipse shades, which look like those 3D glasses of old in the cinema, but you can see from the opaque nature of the film on them, you're not going to see anything apart from the filament of a light bulb or the sun itself. And then this box here that I have has this kind of silvery material. Remember you and I spoke about the eclipse in April last year? We had a partial one as well. It was more dramatic across North America, continental North America. But this material, which looks like tinfoil, is very plasticized and is very safe. I'm tapping it here, it's not moving. And it is also the same as those eclipse shades, where only the sun's light will be able to pass through. 99+% of the heat and light that would cause the damage is being blocked. So these are what can be used in front of an optical instrument before any magnification is done. That's the important part. Or as you can see from behind me, I have my telescope here showing the projection method, which is if you don't have a filter at all, you could still project the image of the sun through your binoculars, maybe through one side, keeping the other side covered, and then projecting the image onto a white sheet of card or paper. And from there, you can then increase the size of the disc by moving the sheet further away from the disc image. And from there, you'll even see sunspots on the surface. And then probably the easiest way, the most simple way is the pinhole projector method. Taking a sheet of card, punch something like a knitting needle through it so you get that nice circular hole, and that becomes a pinhole projector where the disc, the crescent image actually, while the sun is partially covered, will then appear onto whatever's on the background. And standing underneath a tree, you'll see thousands of them as each of the gaps between the branches and the leaves act as individual pinhole projectors. Or even take a colander from the kitchen, and it'll do the same thing for you.
Fact or fiction that aiming your phone towards the sun and trying to film it could cause damage?
That is fact. Phones do have a protection method for taking photos of the sun, but they do not allow any kind of detail. They are trying to protect themselves. The CMOS chips on those, the CMOS sensors, they are designed to try and narrow the aperture in such a way electronically that they can save themselves. But if you're going to take a long exposure, going into pro or manual mode in your camera phone, that is not advised. And even those who may have a DSLR camera or other kind of digital cameras that would allow you to take these manual f-stop shots, you would still need to have a filter over the front in order to be able to safely take the image and then preserve that image and all its beauty at the same time without damaging the equipment.
So let's recap. The times for it to start, to peak, and then eventually return to normal. When do we need to be outside and pray for clear skies?
Well, the weather forecast is favourable for the Midlands and the east of the country tomorrow. The west, not so much. But 6:10 is what we call first contact. The moon is now starting to what's called ingress across the face of the sun. Maximum for us will be at 7 across the Midlands. In fact, across most of the country is between 10 past and 14 minutes past 7 p.m. So you'll have least amount in Belfast, which is about 93%, and you'll have most down in Dingle, which would be a little over 95% of the disk of the sun covered by 7:15. So, and that window, 5 minutes or so either side is fine. So if there are people who are in cars rushing to find a good location that's devoid of trees and buildings, into a rural setting, or even rushing home from work or soccer practice with the kids, you do have time either side of that 7:15 mark to be able to enjoy this spectacle.
And if you should fall asleep and miss it, how long until the next one?
We will have another partial solar eclipse in August next year. It won't be as impressive as this time round, so if you do fall asleep, tough. But the next time Ireland actually will experience a total solar eclipse, is going to be the 23rd of September, 2090. Aha.
I'll set the alarm clock, so. Shawnee, as ever, thanks very much for your time.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
And you can find Shawnee Morris and indeed Midlands Astronomy Club on socials. Just look them up.